What is up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. Today, the figure we're taking a look at is the Ocular Max Eris Kultur Alternative. And I'm not sure exactly what the alternative is for. I probably should have gone online onto this vast worldwide network known as the Internet and seen a picture of Eris versus the alternative version side by side. Best as I can figure, the original Eris was actually released as an April Fool's joke, and it was a limited figure. And then they're like, yeah, actually, we're going to, so as to not, F up anybody's limited edition figure, we're going to recolor it and then release it in a mass market. So as far as I can tell, that's the whole reason why. I don't know what the other differences are for. But anyhow, this is a Masterpiece scale version of a character that Mastermind Creation calls Eris. Eris is basically a fembot who has the ability to mimic both in fighting style and whatnot, but also in appearance and alt mode and whatnot. Other, like, Cybertronian gladiators and whatnot. And apparently she took a liking to Tarn. That's my boy. So, yeah. Apparently she took a liking to Tarn and now has his, like, alt mode and robot mode and whatnot. But it is a pretty swanky figure. What you see is pretty much what you get in terms of accessories. It's all like built on. You've got this arm cannon here, which just pegs on with a simple little peg. You've got a face mask which comes off. It actually comes off, it's not super easily, but it's just held in by these little tabs here on the side. They fit into the sides of her face, which is, by the way, painted and sculpted really well. But yeah, it just plugs in there, and now she's got Tarn's Decepticon faceplate, which is super cool. But yeah, that's it for his accessory. For accessories. Oh, buttery smooth treads. I like that. But in terms of articulation, she's got a ball joint at the head, which allows to look up, to look down, and combined with there's a hinge joint in there as well. Get some side to side motion going on, and of course it'll turn. Faceplate came off. The arm will go around, more or less. There is this other tread in the back, and that does get in the way, but you can wiggle things around to get more out of the way. These treads will come out like that, and there's a rotation here. You can turn them on that, so you can move them in ways, but, their resting place is just kind of here, right behind the flipping shoulder. You do have a joint here for a full tree pose, and then that can kind of shift around on its transformation joint. There is actually also another transformation joint in there, but probably shouldn't mess with that too much because A of all, it's blocked, and B of all, it's blocked by a backpack piece, which you don't want to damage or stress that. But you do get some butterfly going on. So, good posability there. Single bend at the elbow for about 90 degrees. You get a bicep rotation as well. The wrist is on a swivel and a hinge that goes out and in. And then it has pretty good engineering for such a small hand. These are all plastic on plastic joints in the fingers, so I wouldn't be super surprised if they loosened up over time. But at least they didn't come loose like some figures with plastic on plastic hands that I've had. You got a ball joint, hinge joint on the thumb, and then a hinge joint, a sideways hinge joint, and then a hinge joint on each finger. So the hands are all posable, very well posable. Not exactly the super best posability, or sorry, not exactly the super best proportions. That has always gone to my Soul Chogokin Gao Gaigar, which has the best damn hands I've ever seen on any figure ever, and so far nothing has beat that. But they're pretty decent. A little skeletal, which works great for all of the like expressive hand poses you might want to get out of it, but you know, I think that the skeletal look works perfectly for the characters, what I'm getting at. So it's perfect. You get, ooh, hey, I forgot to fully transform this piece here. Those little doohickeys come down. You get a upper bicep joint, or sorry, an upper. That one doesn't really want to go too far because it unhinges this pig here in the back. So we're just going to ignore that one. There is a ab crunch here. Lots of forward and back motion on that. There's a rotation joint here. There's actually another rotation joint higher up, but that's mostly for transformation as well. This one here, I'm not entirely sure if that is on a ball joint or on like a universal joint, because it's got side to side and front and back and rotation, and it all seems to be at the same joint. And yet it definitely looks like, and you're not going to see it on this video, but it definitely looks to my eye like the makings of a universal joint in there. So I'm not sure exactly what the story with it is. The hips, unfortunately, are a little unfortunate. In that I kind of feel, so when her legs are together, they are really close together. Like I feel like in a perfect world, for transformation, this should have slid up by like 1/8 of an inch or maybe 1/4 of an inch, but it doesn't. I would have liked to have her legs a little bit farther apart just for proportion. She also gets the like 70s Barbie doll kind of thing going on, where you've got this V cut at the hips, and so the leg doesn't just go forward, it goes up and out. You can compensate that somewhat by rotating the thigh joint, but it really only gets you about that much before the thigh joint won't rotate enough to compensate for that. So, I mean, the joint itself, you can go all the way around if that's what you want to do. If you want to move her leg forward, that's really about it, like directly forward. And then moving it back is going to be a little bit more because there's more rotation on the back end to rotate it around. So going out, that's how much of a even futzing around with the joint, that's about how much you get to go out. Like I said, you do get a thigh swivel here. There's a panel right here that's supposed to come out. There we go. That's actually the very first time I've ever gotten this panel to close. That's supposed to close for robot mode. And the point of that is it's supposed to make it so that this joint is covered up. This double joint here, which is a transformation joint, is covered up. And it doesn't really do much. So if you have no problem with this joint whatsoever, I close it, then go ahead and use it. And if you don't like pulling this little tab out and pushing it in, then don't use it. There is a swivel here at the knee. Single joint knee, though it really kind of looks like a double joint knee, but it is just single joint, but it's as deep of a bend as you could possibly want. You do get a little bit of motion on that kneecap. You do get a little bit of transformation, tiltage on the ankle. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Or not ankle, but the shin. You do get ankle tilt, which is about like so, and that's actually pretty damn decent. And then her heel and toe, they're like in the same connection here, so you can rotate them by themselves. You can rotate them individually, which you will do for transformation. The issue that you'll find is that as you're pressing it down, it'll kind of want to push the toe forward and push the heel backwards, so that now your figure is resting right on this part of the joint right here. And that's not really good for stability, to be honest. So, but if you get everything flat, she actually stands really well. You also get some motion here on the toe and some motion here on the toe. And that's it. That's all the transfer. That's all the motion she's got. This is a Masterpiece scale figure, so I brought out my little Legends Tarn for just a moment. And Legends Tarn, don't get me wrong, it's a great figure, but he ain't gonna scale with his big-ass girlfriend. So I'll have to review that figure next, to be honest. But anyhow, let's get this figure transformed up. So we're going to take off this accessory here, will come off for transformation. We're basically going to start at the upper body. The upper body turns into a tank, and everything below the waist turns into like a turret. So it's going to be interesting and fun. Though, to be perfectly honest, the first thing I'm going to do is get this guy here. You've got a little tab on the side here and a slot on the side of her body, her waist, and that's just going to tab into that. That kind of locks things in, which is good. You do want them to be locked in. And if you were like me and you forgot that you had that plugged in, you still get like a little bit of motion out of this, just not much. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the hand. You're going to take these fingers and you're going to fold them in. This is not exactly the standard fold up fist pose. You're basically going to leave this first joint straight, and then it's going to fold in right against the palm. So the hand actually forms kind of like a little flat cube, like a little flat rectangular prism. You're going to open up this panel right here. And then this whole thing is going to double joint in like here. And you'll see here there's this like little divot on that. There's this little divot like on that part of that, the back of her forearm. That's just going to fit into there. You will turn this out sideways. And then this panel is going to close back up. This tab's going to go into that forearm slot. And then this tab is going to go into that slot right there. Boom. And the hand is just going to stay where it's at. So this is one arm. Let's make the other arm just like that. So we're going to turn this. We're going to open this. Her face fell off again. Like I said, it is something because it's not held on super securely, but it's held on, I don't know, decently enough for minor handling and posing and whatnot. Definitely for keeping on your shelf. You may find it coming off while you transform it, but once you get it transformed, it stays in there pretty freaking solid because it gets locked in behind the backpack panel. So, with both of these done, what you're going to do is kind of bring out her arms. You're going to disconnect these pylons, rotate them down, and then kind of slide them back into place a little bit. So disconnect these, rotate them down, and then slide them back into place. Open up this backpack. Open up the chest pack. And where we're going to go from here is, let me see, the head gets turned around. Basically, what's going to happen is that these arms are going to come up on these ball joints. Well, this isn't ball joints. Let me backtrack just a little bit. You want to take this guy here and fold this all the way back. You want to take on this, what was the backpack, you want to fold this panel in. You've got 2 tabs and 2 slots. You're going to send that home on both sides. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically start to assemble this tank thing together. So these are going to come down. They're going to tab into each other. These are going to come around. There's really no easy way to describe this except that what you're going to do is you're going to turn this into as much like a tank as you can. There's a little tab right here. You want to make sure that that fits into the slot on the inside of her arm. Just like so. There's a tab and a slot here. So basically this front section is going to plug into the back section, and that all will work out. The hand is just going to hang out underneath there, and we'll do the same with the other side. So fold this down, fold this so that this tab plugs into that slot right there. There we go, there we go. And this little tab right here is going to go in there. Oh, I just lost a finger. Why does this always happen when I'm shooting a review but never otherwise? The first time I have lost a finger. That clicks into place. Okie doke. And let's try this again one more time. This time with feeling. Plug that in. There, there, there. Make sure all those tabs line up. Perfect. This chest panel is going to fold in so that it's flush underneath. The face, which receives the face mask, will fit in right there. And then this panel is going to sit in this little cutout right here. It's going to go right over that faceplate and keep everything in securely. So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this waist section here. We're going to rotate this 180 degrees. And then basically how this is going to end up is the foot, you're going to fold this part out all the way, and this part will come in just a little bit. You're going to bend the toe till it touches the heel, and then I've always found this to be a little bit tricky. Basically, you're going to fold up this leg in such a way that this tab is going to go into that slot, and then there's a tab right here in the heel that's going to go into this slot here, and then the toe is going to tuck into this little gap that my thumb is on right now. And there's not really a good way to describe it aside from this, what it does. But, and honestly, of all these little tabs, the one that's kind of a pain in the ass is the one on the heel. Once you get the one on the heel on, this toe, which you can bend, will actually fish right into that spot. I do wish that the toe bent a little bit more, but it'll actually go right into that spot, like so. And that's a leg basically all done. We're going to do the same with the other leg. So heel and toe, touch, bend this out, bend this in, fold this all the way around, make that tab go home, make this tab go home, fold the toe into that spot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this back on that double hinge, rotate them. Wow. Let me put this down. Let me undo what I just did so that y'all can get a look at it. Okay, so this is where I was at just a second ago. And we're going to rotate this down, double hinge them back. So down, double hinge back, and then we're going to rotate them so that they're going to be parallel to each other. Spread them out slightly. This piece here is then going to open up at that point. These are going to rotate so that they're facing down. And then you've got tab, tab, slot, slot. Plug in one side. Plug in one side, plug in one side, lead it to the, plug in one side, lead it to the other side, plug in one side, lead it to the, plug in one side, lead it to the other side. Once it all plugs in, I swear to God, it like works really well. Oh my gosh. Oh, come on. This is also another thing that I haven't had any issue with. I wasn't prepared to have an issue with this. What am I doing wrong? Alright, new plan. I'm going to line these up as well as I can. And then I'm just going to like squeeze this in and hopefully it finds the tabs on its own. Which it did. Plug these straight into the knees. And there you have it in the tank mode. And it is a good looking tank mode. The tank treads roll. The nice satisfying thing. And these are plastic, by the way. These are plastic interlinked tank treads. I've heard some people complain about plastic interlinked tank treads, but I think that they are the best thing on the flippin' planet. I can't tell you how many times I've had things with rubber tires. Oh, rubber tires are so premium. Oh, rubber treads are so premium. Oh, rubber, 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 rubber. And then, like, after a few years, the rubber all degrades, and it looks like garbage. Plastic will last forever, unfortunately, if it gets thrown away inappropriately and not recycled. But what I'm saying is that this will last the life of the toy, which is great. I like that. But yeah, so it rolls great. The turret rotates great. You even get a little bit of up and down. Just a tiny bit. You get a little posability on that. You get rotation. That's what's most important. But yeah, it's pretty good figure actually. But yeah, that's about all I have to say for the Eris Kultur color version. I forget what her full name was. Eris. Fantastic figure. I like it a lot. I'm borrowing this one. I may actually pick one up for myself. I've kind of been wanting to. And then upon getting this in my hands, now I really want to. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just put this one on my shelf and misplace it. No, that's not how I roll. Thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Everybody stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya.